Alrighty, hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cryptic Coil, but for those of you who do know me, tonight I want to do a really small book haul for you. After work, I picked up a couple of books at a thrift store that's near my work. So instead of going straight home, I decided to hit that thrift store. And I thought I knew what I bought. I did, but I actually came home to a giant surprise and I'm still kind of in shock, and I just wanted to tell you guys about it, okay? All right, so before I reveal the shock, I'll just show you what I bought. All right, so I bought another copy of Say Cheese and Die. It's a Goosebumps book, R.L. Stine, book number 4. I learned from Cameron Chaney's channel that the first printings of the earlier Goosebumps books, they actually didn't have a number on the spine. So on this one, it says number 4. Well, I actually have one that doesn't have the number on the spine. So this one does have the number on the spine. So I just figured I'd add it to my collection because I'd read this copy before I'd read that copy. All right, then I picked up another copy of The Haunted Car. And I don't know if this was part of the original 62 or if this is a Goosebumps 2000s book. I know I already have it, but this one is kind of beat up. The cover's kind of beat up. And so I figured, well, this could be my reading copy. All right, so then I found one more R.L. Stine book. I found a kind of beat up, but kind of a reasonable copy of The Snowman, one of R.L. Stine's point horror books. And I'm like, you know what? I really need to read this one this winter. Okay, summer's over, it's behind us. Winter's coming soon-ish. So this is going to be a reading copy for me. So I'm going to try to get to this one this winter. So I went ahead and picked that one up. And then I picked up another point horror book, but on the spine it says point thriller. And I found this at that thrift store, and the only reason I even picked it up is because I saw this video featured in Cameron Chaney's Point Horror Collection video from a few years back, and I remembered that seeing it in that video and that he had it. And I'm not really that into aliens, which is kind of weird because I'm from New Mexico, so you'd think I'd be all about aliens. I'm kind of not. I don't hate them, but I don't like gravitate towards them. But I just went ahead and picked this up. I was like, okay, I'll put it in my point horror collection. Cameron Chaney has it. I guess I have it too. I mean, what did that cost me? Like $2. So why not? All right, then I found this one and I was pretty excited about it. So it says 2 original Creep Show novels, and it's called The Taker. And because it says Creep Show up here, and it's got like the Crypt Keeper down here, I was like, I'll go ahead and get it. So I guess the author's name is Ellie Cooper. It's printed by Scholastic, and the tagline on the front reads, "The most fun you'll ever have being scared." So I haven't even read the synopsis yet, so let's read the synopsis on back. Be careful what you wish for. When Bia moves to a new town, she is determined to do 2 things: get on the dance team at school and find her new friends. What she doesn't expect is for one of those friends to be a ghost, or for that ghost to be jealous of her dance crew. If Bia wants to keep the peace, she has to do what her new friends want, but at what cost? Carrie has always loved animals. Dogs and cats are fine. Dogs and cats are fine enough. Not that his deadbeat dad has ever let him. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me start that over. It's not Carrie, it's Casey. So let me start that over. I guess this is the second book in this bind up. So Casey has not always loved animals. Dogs and cats are fine enough, but not that his deadbeat dad has ever let him have one. But what he really wants is an African gray parrot. When he finally gets his wish, it's almost too good to be true. The parrot, Dorian, sings and talks and learns new tricks so fast. Dorian is incredibly smart, maybe too smart for his and Casey's own good. This collection is inspired by Creepshow, the breakout series from the executive producer of The Walking Dead that airs on AMC and Shudder, a streaming service for horror, suspense, and thrills. Complete with comic book art at the start of each story, this volume delivers two chilling tales of how one's deepest desires can quickly become one's greatest fears. And that sounds pretty cool. Let's just see what year it's from. It's from the year 2020. And so that was a fun little find. Okay, so now let's get to the big surprise. All right, so when I was in fourth grade, my fourth grade teacher was one of the teachers that had the biggest impact on my life. Even today, all these years later, I still remember her and I still think about her every single day. She just changed my life. She really taught me to value intelligence and education. She really improved my handwriting. Okay, to this day, I have very neat handwriting. So much so, in fact, that I sometimes get teased for my handwriting. People will tell me that I write like a girl. In high school, I had some friends joke with me, and they told me, "You write like a girl. All you need to do is dot your I's with hearts." Okay, even my little brother, he had horrible handwriting, and he asked me one time, how did your handwriting get so good? Did you just practice the alphabet over and over and over again? And I was like, yeah, my fourth grade teacher made me do that till my handwriting improved. Okay, well, my teacher was also really big on reading and really instilled a love of reading in us kids in her class. I was already there, but she really nurtured that love that I had. And she was a really big fan of this author, Gary Paulsen. Her classroom had several bookshelves, and her bookshelves were stocked with a bunch of Gary Paulsen books. She used to make us, every Wednesday, I believe, we had to get into a group, and we were part of the same group, and we had to decide every week on a book to read. And then the next week, we would sit down and have a book discussion. It was like a book club. Well, one time we agreed on this Gary Paulsen book, Nightjawn. And I was really into horror even back then. I didn't want to read anything but horror, but because it had the word night and because the cover was dark, like with a black background, I figured maybe there could be some horror in this book, so I agreed to read that book. And I read it all in one night. Well, anyway, after I started this channel and started recollecting books from my childhood, I found this at a thrift store and I featured it in one of my early book haul videos. And this particular book, Nightjawn by Gary Paulsen, it's autographed by Gary Paulsen. And I just remember being blown away. And I'll read you the inscription. A note about Nightjawn. The research for this short book took over 5 years, and it was heartbreaking. At many times, reading through the slave narratives, I would find myself crying quietly, weeping for them, for they were very real people and have tried to portray. For they were very real people, and I tried to portray that in this story. They wanted only one thing, to be free, and they knew that learning to read, was the best way to freedom. It still is. Signed, Gary Paulsen. I was just really blown away that I found this. Okay, I'm just really proud to have this book in my collection. Well, like I said, I mean, I was never that big into Gary Paulson, but I remember my fourth grade teacher was very fond of him, and we read a Gary Paulson book together as a class. I read Night John with my book club in her class. Then I see this on the bookshelf, and it's Gary Paulson, The Car. Never heard of it. I read the synopsis on the back. Let me read it for you. The Car, Gary Paulson. 14-year-old Terry Anders has been abandoned by his parents. He has no choice but to go on and begins by assembling pieces of a kit car from his father's garage. When he finishes the car, known as the Cat, Terry sets out from Cleveland to Portland to search for an uncle he hardly knows. Along the way, Terry picks up a wandering Vietnam veteran who ultimately guides him on a journey of discovery and survival. So I read the synopsis on the back while I was at the thrift store. And I said, you know what, that actually does sound pretty good. I'll go ahead and pick that one up. Looks like this book was printed in 1995. I thought it was more modern than that. It's in really good condition. Anyway, I get home, and my only frame of reference to Gary Paulson is my fourth grade teacher who loved him and stocked her classroom bookshelves with his books. You know how sometimes I get upset when I open a book and I find that some kid or some teacher wrote their name in the book? Well, this time a teacher wrote her name in this book. And guess who it was? Did you guess? Yeah, it was my fourth grade teacher. I recognize the handwriting. I actually think that subconsciously I've been waiting for this to happen. I feel like in the back of my mind I knew this would eventually happen. And sure enough, it did tonight. And I mean, I'm just baffled. I haven't talked to her in a number of years. In my 20s, I got on Facebook and I thought of her, and I actually added her and she added me. We messaged back and forth a couple of times, and that was it. Then some other kids that were in my fourth grade class found me, or I found them, and I stayed in touch with some of them throughout my 20s into my early 30s. And then in my early 30s, I got off Facebook, and I haven't talked to anybody since. But, you know, that teacher just had a real huge impact on my life. I mean, she's definitely a top 3 teacher of mine. I grew up in 4 different states. I had a lot of different teachers. And I think that throughout my childhood, she was the adult in my life that probably had the most positive impact on my life. And I still benefit from her impact today. I'm just a few months shy of turning 40 years old. And this is not what I was looking for when I went hunting tonight. But it was the best surprise I could have found. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. I think it was really cool. And I hope you guys think it was cool too. And if not, I mean, it still means the world to me. Well, anyway, I'll let you guys go, but thank you for watching. Horns up and peace out.